Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers in the quiet spaces where arrogance meets reality, where a single decision sends shockwaves that no press conference, no marketing campaign, and no desperate spin can undo. The story of Caitlin Clark in the WNBA isn't just another sports saga. It's a parable about squandered opportunity, institutional arrogance, and how one star's refusal to be diminished reshaped the entire landscape of women's basketball. From the moment Clark stepped onto the national stage, it was clear this wasn't business as usual. She wasn't just another top draft pick. She was a phenomenon, a cultural force who turned every game into an event. Her logo threes became playground rituals. Highlights of her breaking defenses weren't confined to sports channels. They flooded TikTok feeds, Instagram reels, and primetime news. Parents were dragging their kids to arenas, kids were showing up in jerseys with her name on the back, and casual sports fans who had never cared about the WNBA suddenly found themselves glued to broadcasts just to watch her play. By the time draft night arrived, the league wasn't selecting a player, it was being handed salvation on a silver platter. This was lightning in a bottle, the kind of star power leagues spent decades praying for. Within weeks, Indiana Fever tickets vanished, resale prices tripled, and road arenas filled with Clark supporters who outnumbered home fans. Broadcast ratings surged past records, merchandise sales exploded, and for the first time in nearly 3 decades, the WNBA was undeniably relevant. One rookie had done what endless rebrands and campaigns could not, but while Clark delivered everything the league could have dreamed of, the WNBA gave her something else in return: insult. Her rookie contract locked her into 4 years and just $338,000 total, barely $85,000 a year. A number that didn't just underpay her, it devalued her. Meanwhile, across the NBA, a number 1 pick was signing for $55 million. Do the math. Clark made 162 times less. That wasn't just a wage gap. It was malpractice. And the optics were brutal. When a league devalues its own star, it sends a dangerous signal, not just to the public, but to the players on the court. Suddenly, Clark wasn't untouchable. She was a target. Game after game, the punishment piled up. Hard hip checks, sharp elbows, shoves while airborne, cheap shots that weren't about defense but about sending a message. She might be the face of the league to the fans, but in the WNBA hierarchy, she was disposable. The referees swallowed their whistles. The league office stayed silent. And with every shrug of indifference, the violence escalated. It all boiled over in moments fans will never forget. Cameras appeared to catch Brittany Griner using a racial slur against Clark during a game. The clip went viral. Lip readers weighed in. Outrage spread like wildfire. And yet again, the league did nothing. No investigation, no fine, not even a statement. Caitlin Clark wasn't just underpaid. She was unprotected. The very institution that cashed her face on tickets and merchandise left her out to dry. And the inevitable came. On September 5th, 2025, headlines confirmed the nightmare. Clark was ruled out for the rest of the season with a groin injury. Officially, it was framed as bad luck. But fans knew better. This wasn't random. This was the bill coming due. After months of unchecked abuse, after endless whistles swallowed, her body finally broke. Not because she was fragile, but because the league never protected its golden goose. And in that moment, the WNBA didn't just lose its brightest star. It exposed itself as incapable of protecting the future it desperately needed. But while Clark sat sidelined, something remarkable happened. Investors, rival leagues, billionaires, and celebrities far beyond the traditional basketball world began circling. They saw what the WNBA refused to admit. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another player. She was bigger than the league itself. Unrivaled, a new 3-on-3 women's league backed by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier came forward with an offer. Over $1 million a year and, more importantly, an equity stake. For the first time, Clark wasn't being treated like a commodity. She was being treated like a partner, someone who could shape the game's future. It was more respect in one offer than the WNBA had shown her in 2 seasons. Then came Ice Cube, and with him, the bombshell that turned the entire sports world on its head. At first, whispers of Cube's Big Three offering Caitlin Clark millions sounded like fantasy. Then the official figure dropped, $15 million. Not for 4 years. Not for an entire grueling WNBA season. But for a single 10-week stretch of basketball, $15 million. Pause and let that sink in. The WNBA bound Clark to a contract worth $338,000 across 4 years. Ice Cube walked in and said, Here's $15 million for less than 3 months. That wasn't just an offer. It was an indictment. It was a public declaration that the WNBA had no clue what its most valuable asset was worth. Cube didn't just outbid them, he humiliated them. He proved that a rapper-turned-businessman understood Clark's value better than the very league built on her shoulders. And just like that, the balance of power shifted. For decades, the WNBA held all the leverage, assuming players needed them more than they needed players. Clark shattered that illusion. The league thought it owned her. The truth? She now owns the future of the sport, because this was never just about points, assists, or trophies. It was about vision. It was about respect. Clark gave the WNBA everything: ratings, fans, sold-out arenas, a relevance they had begged for since 1997. And in return, they underpaid her, left her unprotected, and stood by while rivals offered her millions. That's not mismanagement. That's betrayal. Now, Caitlin Clark's revenge isn't about shouting back at critics. It isn't about cryptic tweets or fiery interviews. It's about leverage. Rival leagues offering ownership stakes, billionaire investors validating her worth, Ice Cube standing on the mountaintop declaring she's an 8-figure superstar. The WNBA thought she needed them to cement her legacy. But the reality is brutal. She doesn't need them at all. They need her to survive, and that's the irony of this entire saga. The league held the golden ticket in its hands and fumbled it straight into the gutter. Now Clark holds all the cards. She doesn't just have the power to negotiate her contract. She has the power to decide the future of women's basketball itself. Does she stay loyal to a league that disrespected her, or does she walk away taking her millions of fans and her cultural clout with her? The WNBA's time is running out, and Caitlin Clark's silence, her patience, her quiet revenge may turn out to be the single most devastating move in sports history. Do you think Caitlin Clark should leave the WNBA when her contract ends? Or should she stay and force the league to finally bend to her worth? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on stories like this.